Well, we're starting early tonight, aren't we, folks? Choo choo. How y'all doing? It's good to see you in there. Lindsay, I'm glad you're listening tonight. I hope you feel better, love. Hey, Froze Moments. Welcome in Scott's life. Hey, Horse, what's happening, Bernice? And I'm never sure we're supposed to be incognito or not, but on that. But I think the cat's out of the bag or the horse is out of the barn or whatever you want to say on that one. But, um, let me know if it's secret because I shouldn't have said anything. I'm terrible at that. Hey, JK, I sent you an invite if you want to come in and talk about that, about your channel. What was going on there. We'll just have to open another one, start again, and get you just right back up there again. Hello, D Rock. Welcome, 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 Straw Dog. And wonderful Ted Branson. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Edna. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you, love. So good to see you. Did you see that little bit of Turkey Day video I did up there? I thought of you today when actually several times you crossed my mind today. Isn't it funny how you think about people just within your day and they just pop up, pop into your head and you think such and such would like this, or I wonder what they think about this or whatever, or I know they'd get that, or that kind of thing. And oh, just the last one. Okay, so I can call you Dimensional Renee. You're still stumble bumping me all over the place because I don't know whether to call you Horse or Reese. Every time I spell Renice, I'd always spell it wrong. I always had the problem with the IE and the back and forth and whatever. It's okay, JK. But still, I mean, if you want to, you can. I sent you a thing in your email if you want to pop in and talk about it because the thing is that's everybody possibly thinks that we're kidding when we say about chat and things we could say. In fact, there's a thing in here where the wonderful Lawrence Chow from Ghostly Encounters says um he uses that word where you unlife yourself, and I had to actually sit there and block it out and take the volume out when he was saying it. You could say murder and all this other mess, but and then you'll get these things that are really a bugger. You'll get darn good and well you got the music off of a composer, off a YouTube creator, and you know what it's called, and YouTube is the one to give it, just letting you have it under their license of, that's how I get to play all this music and stuff is on YouTube. You don't have this problem on, I don't know about Odyssey, but on Rumble, you don't have that problem. I can play AC/DC videos all day long, Angus, but anyway, I do anything like that. But, I get it, but here's the rub. You got it off of YouTube. It's like, say, Asher Valero pouring out. That's it. You downloaded it. You put it on the tape. You made the tape. You did it. And then you got some stumblebum off in Oshkosh Begosh somewhere that says, no, no, no. It's, the March of the Wooden, boy, the words that just went through my head real fast. And I had to nope, 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 nope. The nerve, and they're saying no, it's this and it's mine and I have the copyright on it, and you can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hello, Vixen Doe, welcome in, sweetie. Debating it, and it, and you've got to tell YouTube it's your song. Is this your life? Here's the thing: you're the one who tagged it in the description. It's an automatic tag, and they label it. And then they come back and go, no, this, stumblebum in, where'd I say? Oshkosh, Bigosh, whatever. It says it's his. So now you're sharing your revenue with that person, which again, let's be real here. Let's to be clear, we're talking about, pennies here, the wrestling over 62 cents you're going to make annually on that, that little bit, not just that bit, but the whole, shebang. Because again, I don't pick to do commercials in the middle, and you can do that. You can do it to where it's set when you put your stuff up, like a video. Say you're doing a video and your video is something like dark mode, rainy thunder and spooky ghost stories. why kind of like an ASM, it's definitely for sleep. The last thing you want is every 15 minutes, something popping in to tell you about how you can poop better, or you can buy a bunch of stuff, like a millionaire on, if you just hit this button now and all this other stuff, whatever it may be. Chef in a box, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't normally call out companies, but I got to be honest. Not one time was there ever chef in one of those boxes. They send you a bunch of food that you got to prepare yourself. That's false advertising. It's like when Toys for Tots kept telling me they were going to send me a Marine. There was never a Marine in one of those boxes they sent to collect toys in, and none ever showed up. So, just saying. Hey, Sarah Claire, how you doing? So anyhow, and Edna, you crossed my mind several times, and it's funny because I was thinking I've been on this like 70s, kind of kick, because I started watching. They dropped all the unsolved mysteries on YouTube. There's like 12 seasons of this mess, and it's really cool when you go back, the first 3 seasons. It's so long ago. There's updates, and they're cool about it, and they put them up there. So the thing is this is wild, because I remember when it first came out on TV, it was big deal. Who didn't want to watch that when it was fresh and new and was coming out? And there, it could be that creepy dude down at the garage, or that hangs out that coffee shop you always get your, paper at or whatever. And I knew there was something shady about that dude. You know what I mean? It was kind of the rarity of the interesting reality TV, in my opinion. It was that's kind of what it was. It was kind of like, America's Most Wanted and stuff too, right? So anyhow, last night I was watching them, and I'm trying to find good mysteries, and I found a couple. We might talk about one last night. Again, very beneficial to be able to go back to the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and go over these mysteries and then see how they've changed. Did we find out? Did we catch the dude? The wild thing is, guys, I kid you not, you watch this and it's a bank robbery. Somebody was robbing the bank, and Patty Hearst was involved, and that lady got shot. She was a mother of 4 kids, and she just froze and didn't drop to the floor. And this chick from the I forget what it was, SL whatever, what Liberation Army, whatever, SLA, whatever. But Patty Hearst, remember, she got kidnapped, and they held her, and I think within weeks of them holding her, she was, right there participating. There's, she's brainwashed. Everybody said, no, she can't be brainwashed that fast. Let me tell you something. There are some tactics that will flip a brain quick. Just saying. I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying, that the whole thing was shady, if you ask me. She turned quick too. But I think that case back in the 70s, when I first started hearing about the what do they call that when you start feeling sorry for your kidnapper? Not Munchausen syndrome, the other one. Thank you, Stockholm syndrome. Man, I didn't even ask the question yet, Ted. How did you get that answer? Oh, Ted, are you going psychic on me? I didn't even ask the question yet, did I? That's creepy. How cool was that? Do that again, Ted. Okay, what am I thinking now? Oh, you dirty son of a gun. So anyway, and Ed, you were on my mind last night because they were talking about the protests and Ohio. They were talking about these these poor little groups that got together. They thought they were doing stuff. I mean, what do you prove in putting bombs under cops' cars and and robbing banks and shooting civilians on the street? I mean, how is that you advocating for peace? I don't get that. Stop the wars, let's kill people and blow people up to get you to do it, and rob banks to fund it. It just doesn't make any sense. We got to find some new tactics, people. They're still doing that shit. Are they not? What do you mean going? Sweet. I like that, Ted. That's good. Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking a lot about that, and I was thinking about of course, a lot of those cases take you back to the 70s. Let me see if I can pull this mic up closer without causing a big ruckus. Can't get my chair closer. I keep sliding out of this fucking chair, man. I'm telling you, nothing more irritating. So, it is very interesting, and it's a wealth of different mysteries. There's some really cool ones I want to kind of talk about on another show with you guys, but it's kind of neat to go back a minute, like I did even in the beginning here. I made that quick little video about Thanksgiving, and I know all our friends in Canada, you've had your Thanksgiving, and I don't know how you guys really celebrate that, if it's more like a harvest festival too. Of course, we know our whole thing is just based all, it's like everything else, on lies upon, you know, hyperbole and stretching the truth and totally made up bullshit. But I believe corn was involved, and probably venison, and there was probably wasn't a turkey because it wasn't quite that time, And again, dates are shifted and moved to make a narrative work better and to make it easier. Look, we all know what happened. And there was probably some really desperate people around the time that they had a little bit of food to sit around the table and share stuff, and then you know maybe share some games. Their form of what that ball game was a little baseball. It was kind of like a mixture between um, kind of like baseball, frisbee, and and what's that croquet. Without the mallets, it was weird, but they shared a couple of games, and of course, the Native Americans taught them, this is how you plant with fish, and three things of corn here, and what to plant next to it so they help each other, and those little tricks. And I think the Pilgrims went through quite a few winters, and starvation, and of course disease, and um, the human condition. The power hungry, the backstabbing, the finger pointing. They were just like us. They were no different. They try to clean it up, and they switch dates and all that kind of thing. But here's the deal: for a short amount of time, some people found some common things. They got hungry. They needed food. They needed to not be sick. They needed to get better if they were sick. They wanted to take care of their kids. They wanted to survive. They wanted to be left the hell alone. They wanted to do their traditional things. They wanted to keep their cultures, and all of a sudden this, band of people that wanted freedom too came over, and they didn't quite, they had a little attitude on them. They didn't quite come over and go, hey, yo, we know we're, showing up unannounced here, and we should have sent a letter ahead, and you could have put some more water in the soup, maybe knock down some of these huts and move them back so we could have this piece of land, because this looks good right here. Hope you don't mind. Eventually, some group of those two or three or four, five, different cultures, really, if you're talking about tribal differences, because there certainly was. And there was differences between the groups that came over too. They weren't all the same type of people. They weren't all the same temperament. They weren't all the same, it, it's, you just got to wonder about somebody who's fleeing a country from being oppressed and war torn and savagery and famine and disease and chaos, and you come to another place and go, hey, we're going to flee that so we can have freedom and be ourselves and just be left alone and be able to live and and work and make our way. And then they go over and move into a people that's already there and start turning it into the place they just left. Dumbasses. That shit's still going on too. There goes the channel. But anyway, it was very interesting. Again, I find it interesting whether you're looking back at Bigfoot or, like we've done with Leonard Nimoy and In Search Of, and some of those wonderful Kurt Von Donegan movies, and your Chariots of the Gods. And, you look back at all that, and you look back at things like Unsolved Mysteries. And I highly recommend, if you can get YouTube, in wherever you're at, and you can start watching those and binge, like you could binge watch those. It takes you back. It's interesting, and it takes you away from all the current BS. But I'll tell you, you're going to be reminded of how little has changed and how many times they keep doing the same shit over and over again, expecting a different outcome. You know, but what do we know about that, gatekeepers? What can we do about that? Stop falling for it. And I know the people here know exactly what I'm talking about. Right, Vixen Doe? Bros moments. You know what I'm talking about. Be unstoppable. You know how you can harden yourself for that? Go to a grocery store. I was actually had this conversation with my sons today because I'm this crazy off screen too. We're in the hallway. We're having this deep conversation about psyops, and we joke and I explain. Of course, everybody knows my parents were in advertising, and my whole family kind of came up in that. So I recognize stuff right away, how logos work and how taglines work and catchy tunes and, jingles and all that kind of stuff, right? And, of course, advertising and what works and how to put it in album covers. It's just, there's a lot to it. It's very cool. And then it expanded into watching them being in and out of retail so much, how they set up stores. There's a whole science to it. You go in and, they figure that 90% of people turn to the left and go this way and go straight to the back or wherever they're headed for, depending on the store, the colors and all that kind of thing. We actually said today, try to work to be unstoppable is to stand in, like a less than 12 aisle, you know what I mean? Where it's moving really fast and go through a couple times with just like one item and don't look at the magazines. Don't read the headlines. Don't look at the candy bars that are now, like yesterday, they were, 50 cents a piece or whatever. Or I should say $1.50 a piece. All right, let's say that because it sounds more true, right? $1.50 a piece. And now they're 2 for $3. And because the tag is yellow or red, or usually a blue, they're using a lot of teal now. But your mind says, "Whoo, bargain! It's the same price it was the other day," or buy one get one free. But they just up the price of all that kind of stuff. Not saying everything goes like that, but the biggest one of that is like the 10 for 10. What a psyop that is! 10 for 10. Well, it was $1 a piece the other day. Well, now your mind, there is something in your mind that says, it tells you subconsciously that you now have to buy 10 of those things to get the 10 for 10. I don't know if you've got that in your grocery store or your all this stuff. This is all freaking little psyops, right? And the patterns of the powers that be, when you go back decades, like in these unsolved mysteries that are late 80s, 90s, whatever, still the same. Still the same, pretty much information. There's one that I saw yesterday that blew my mind, and I want to talk to Steve a little bit about it because I wondered what happened and in this specific subject, and I'd like to bring it up and see what Steve thinks about it too, because I think it's interesting, but we still don't have answers. There's still the same arguments today, and I don't want to say the title in case we're not going to do it tomorrow. I don't want to, but if we do, you'll know. So, but if we don't, you won't. So, so anyway, it's just interesting to see. And what I find with most of it, it's like you go through this big old story. Now, you all know how Unsolved Mysteries works, where they'll say, Sharon left the party, and she was going straight home. She was, a straight A student, had a scholarship to college, and you see them reenacting it. And she's getting in her car and she's doing all the things. She's putting on her seatbelt because she's, she's that girl and, wonderful. And all of a sudden something happens and she disappears and nobody knows where she went. And she didn't show up for work and her parents started getting, that's not like her. And you know, the stories, there's 1,000 of them. And Then you find out that it was the jerk in town that everybody thought it was, but it took them, 16 years to get the evidence enough to get the jerk. And then he fled and he went to Brazil. And then he's in some podunk, hotel up in, you know, the Poconos somewhere, or something, or up in the hills of, you know, what, who knows, right? But they find the guy because somebody calls in and they finally, they did a rerun. That happens a lot with unsolved mysteries. They ran it again and somebody saw and called in, you know. And the strange thing that I was going through watching a couple of these over the past couple of nights is now you get the updates, which again, like I said in the beginning, it's cool, but it's also kind of, it'll really wake you up and really smack you in the face, because here I know everything about this girl I didn't know before I saw the segment of the show, right? Now I'm all invested emotionally. I'm like, absolutely, I'm all in for this girl. And isn't it a shame? 16 years and her parents have both passed. I mean, just, it's been 20 some, maybe 25 years, 30 years, right? And you're all invested in this. And at the end, you hear that music. Oh, we're going to get an update. And the update comes up and they show the jerk, tell you where they found him, crouched in a back shed of somebody's, cabining, Oshkosh begosh. They caught him. Now he's, all scruffled and, he's all beat, he's probably trying to hide his face. They got him in cuffs. They're doing the perp walk, and then they flash underneath. Okay, well, he was charged with this, this, and this. He was sentenced to this, this, and this. He did 2 years and he's been out on parole ever since. I mean, this guy was caught, extradited, put through the court system, went to prison, paroled, got out and been out on the streets doing God knows what, for 15 years now. And I'm just finding this out all at once. It's a lot to take in. But, what does that tell you? It probably took them longer to research, write, direct, hire actors, film that, interview people, put it up on Unsolved Mysteries, not once, but twice. Took longer than that sumbitch did sitting his ass behind bars. Now, what do you think about that? And you wonder why we got ghosts. You wonder why we've got, so many ghosts wandering around. And that ought to send a chill up your spine, because how many of those ghosts do you think is wandering around to that kindly old lady who just wants to sit around and bake pies till her husband passes so she can go with him? Pretty small percentage, I'd say. I think there's a good chance there's a lot of ghosts that are just like that. That prisoner, or that, I would hope that girl had crossed, but that brings up something else, that I wanted to talk about tonight. So anyway, and then, some of the other people in here, and it's funny because I'll think, I bet Froze will get that, or I bet, Vixen will be able to answer that question because it has to do with fairies or, history or something else, and you guys just pop into my mind all the time throughout the week. And I hope that this show brings you some joy too. And, bringing joy is my thing, telling the truth and trying to sort things and learning stuff with you, like countless guests I've had on here and countless conversations I've had with the good people in this chat, and learning with along the way, like little things like when Katie Turner said that about the ghost in the farmhouse that I lived in, being a Revolutionary War soldier and my dad being a soldier, that they had a connection. And I know I had thought of that before, but it was the way she said it and the way I accepted the information with the consciousness that I have at this moment, that it kind of opened a couple of other, oh, okay, yeah, like a deeper connection to that information. And I think that's why it's important for us to go over these ghost stories and do these things like, you know, AJK, oh, just dropped my damn cigarette. It's down there now. So I'm gone. It's gone. So thinking about the copyrights and stuff like that too. I do these, and I do ones that are over 25 years old, that they throw up in the public domain, and that they run through and they clear, and they say, but listen, there's a gazillion channels on YouTube right now doing reaction videos to brand new music videos, brand new movies, brand new TV shows. There are companion TV show podcasts that go with TV shows that are not affiliated with, um, like Universal Studios put out a movie. They're not affiliated. They're doing a reaction video to it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to learn from something. Um, because it's obvious, you're giving that person too all the credit as well, and you're kind of free advertising for them, especially if it's a book or if it's something that you're giving a good review. And I could never be one of these people that just brought something on and just ripped it apart. I see that a lot too. A lot of people criticizing a lot of other people's work, and maybe that's their thing, but the point is about, like, there's something different with, you have to stop it. You can play the whole thing, but you have to stop it along the way, and you have to talk about it like you are using it for educational purposes. And that's most assuredly what we're doing here, because I get an education off of every single one of these, and I get to meet wonderful people that's one of my favorite things in these shows. We've had so many of the people that not only been the experiencer telling their story on these shows, like A Haunting and Ghostly Encounters and Paranormal Survivor, and um, so many, Terror in the Woods, and I could go on and on. But some really good ones, and we're learning from each other. Hey, Uncommon, how you doing? And I think that's so important, because this really is, like a class where we're all in, like we've gathered together, we're at the coffee shop, and or whatever, pizza, someplace dark. Can we put someplace dark with, the dark mahogany, and either, if we're going for beer, the beer's got to be cold. If it's red meat, it's got to be cooked right. Or hot wings, they got to be right. Other than that, I don't care. And no weird music. I absolutely draw the line at weird music. But it's like having a meeting. We're all getting together, a group of people like-minded, where we're all trying to, like, hey, did you hear this? Did you see this one? What do you think about that story? It's really cool. So we're definitely learning. This is definitely for educational purposes, but I say that kind of tongue in cheek, because I'm certainly no teacher. You see what I mean? It's not like class. It's more of a group where we're all learning from each other, And I think that's so important, because I'll get somebody like Rob Guttrow on here, and his Christmas show is coming up. That's a tradition. He's coming back. We got to get some some information on animal communications. He's doing some wonderful videos now on his channel. I'm going to get hooked up with them, with you guys, with him on that, because there's so much information in his videos on his YouTube channel. So since he's moved and getting settled in, I see he's doing some really good work over there on his channel, and you're going to find a wealth of information from Rob Guttrow, because he's going to take you to England, and you're going to do England on a medium's vacation. There's so many different places. I can't name them all, but it's a wonderful experience. I mean, look at how much fun we had hearing about just him going to try to watch a Christmas Carol at Christmas time at Ford's Theater. Just trying to go out and watch a play. And you'd be surprised how many dead people pop up in the audience or whatever. He's like, not now, not now. And like Katie Turner was telling us, you got to turn it off, and you got to, like, listen, this is my time. It's private time. Hey, Get Spooky. How you doing, Steph? Welcome in. Welcome in. There's another group, a wonderful YouTube channel, Get Spooky. Get over there. Mods, can you drop the Get Spooky link to the YouTube channel? Go in there and find it. It's Get Spooky. And Steph, that's you. Can you please put the other channels too that you go on? I want to make sure we get all those because we've got so many wonderful people coming up for the holiday season. I've tried to pick you shows that are gonna, you know, I hate to say distract you from the world because I don't want you to be distracted from the world. We've got to be up there at the 40,000 feet view looking at all this and going, all I can do is put good energy out into it. I could try to sort this, and this. I got to put my energy here because this is where I'm going to make the most effect with my energy for what I can do, and then you can get together in groups and get more spot on specific and send love and light to a certain direction, kind of laser point that. We know that works. You know it works. Don't even doubt it for a second. We've seen story after story where people have gotten together in groups and focused on a serial killer, made him turn himself in and stop killing. It can be done. We've seen people turn storms back, or lessen them, So Michelle Rogers, yep, it's the other channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Steph. So Michelle and Steph are coming on. It's going to be a wonderful love-filled show. I'm going to let them kind of outline it out. I'm not going to say anything ahead of time unless they agree to it, but I would love for them to come on and tell you a little bit about each of them and what they do and how they got into it and how they chose to this route to put their light out in the world because it's so effective. And when they get together, it's like putting quartz crystals, with all these other wonderful, beautiful gemstones, and it just magnifies. It was palpable. And, and I hit it in the first seconds that I turned on. And I mean, I was just locked in to their energy. You guys are going to love them. They're going to love you. And they'll be here in December. Another holiday show. I've just got done talking to Lon Strickler. And I'm trying to get Lon and Steve together so you can have a good old boy conversation about cryptids and, all kinds of wonderful magical things that happen in this universe. So all the way through. And Ron Murphy's coming back. We're going to do witches and the bad rap they've gotten along the way. All this misunderstanding and lost in translation stuff. And we just stop and try to sort things out first. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be an easier way. Got to be an easier way. Rock, paper, scissors or something like that. What do you think? I'd like to add one. What is it? Rock, paper, scissors. How about this? Peace. We win. Continue living. Go take care of nature. Raise your children right. Be good humans. All we are saying, give peace a chance. Release the doves. Release the doves. Light workers aren't backing down. Light beats dark. We already won. Quit mussing around. Release the doves. I'm adamant about it. Don't you dare not be. It's going to happen. Right? Gum bands. Gum brand. Like, what the hell is a gum band? I'm not even going to tell you the visuals that went through my head on that one. Oh, you're so welcome, Steph. Just a beautiful soul. I mean, here's the thing. All of these things are accelerating. Of course, you're bumping into more like-mindeds. Of course, you are, being drawn in. It's like the stand. People are separating. Of course, you're vibrating higher, and now you're no longer comfortable vibrating around other people that might be vibrating at a lower, a lower dimension or a lower frequency, and it's just, and you're just, you had it. It's like when you threw the switch. I threw the switch a long time ago. Almost like one of those big cartoon things where you could just jump on and it takes everything to pull it down, like those old cartoons. It's like, listen, speed bumps. This is what you get. I learned with herbs. You get to tell the person 3 times I'm going to tell you one more time that if you do this, this, and this, and you stay consistent with it, it will change your life. It will stop whatever the hell that is. The pain will go away. You have to be consistent, you know, or it's not going to work. It's not a push button thing. I've seen people get out of wheelchairs changing their diet. That's a fact. I've seen it. And people come in here and go, I need to see medical documentation. Please do. These people are famous. They don't hide it, because when something like this happens to a light worker, it is your obligation to share the information. It's your obligation to share the faith moment. It's your obligation to say, hey, I crawled out of the hole. This is what helped me do it. I fixed this. This is what helped me do it. What I can't do is continually go back to the same person and tell them over and over and over the same thing. It goes against some of our culture, and it's got to do with that hole. When you climb it, when you get up to the top of the hill, you'll be ready to listen. I deal with it all the time, and I'll tell you something, it's stabbed you in the heart every time. It's always the people you want to help the most who won't listen to a thing you say. Whether it's your kids, that's a given. They have to go through their stuff. They have, no matter how much you want to give them your hard-earned wisdom, they got to go through it themselves. They got to see it. You can't give it to them. Can't give somebody an education, if it's not earned, it won't be respected, and it won't have any foundation. You know what I'm saying? And this does have a lot to do with what we're going to talk about tonight, to the whole theme of everything. But you know me, I run around the field like crazy, just wah, but we have fun. Let's cover the whole field. Just hang on. So thank you, baby. So that's the thing. You want to help. The people you want to help the most aren't going to listen. Why? Because they're not ready to receive the information. Plant the seed and walk away. That's all you can do. You can pray for them. You can throw good energy at them. You can burn incense. You can dance around them with tambourine, whatever you want to do. But unless they're ready to receive that information, unless they go through it and their character is built to the point, it's going to bounce right off. All she can do is tell them, here it is, put it in your pocket, hang on to it, put that in your Rolodex. Hey, Monica, put that in your Rolodex. You're going to need it. And then you sit back, you take the hat off, and hardest thing I ever did. Here I got all these freaking hard-earned tools in my toolbox. I got all these hats. I'm ready to go. I'm a warrior. What direction you want me to go into? Whoa. Sit down, Mama Bear. They got to go through it. Oh, man. Yep. Just be there with the dustpan, pick up the pieces, love them through it, love them through it, love them through it. You got to love yourself through it, too. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't do it, you don't keep yourself strong, and you don't understand, however you want to say it, a mustard seed of faith. Here's the trick. Faith is not counting on it coming out the way you want it to come out. Faith is that you're going to make it or break it. Either way. Plain and simple. That you've got it either way. That there's something else. That you're just stepping from one room to the next. That kind of faith, nothing here can touch you. There's a quote from a show that I'm watching right now, and if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's a line, and it says, in this world, hearts will break, bones will break, but there's something more. Everybody here knows that, or is trying to solidify their belief in that. that energy continues on. If you believe in ghosts, you believe that energy continues on, that it cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. And if it's a ghost, it must have a free will choice of some type. We can't just do a broad brush and say that all the ghosts that are here decided to stay here. I can't do that. I can say there's probably a large amount of them. Some don't even know they're dead. So if they don't even know they're dead, how are they choosing to stay here? You know, so we have those, those little empty spaces where we have those little puzzle pieces we're always talking about, and we've got it all, laid out, and it's one of those crazy ones, those high end, puzzles that are tiny, tiny little pieces, and 5,000, 10,000, whatever. Not the easy ones. I remember my brother did one once. Well, my cousin. And I found out he's doing pretty good. He's kind of a introvert, and he's extremely antisocial, very, very intelligent, MIT kind of dude. You know the type. But when he was still among the living, kind of, and I was a teenager, I was helping him do a puzzle, and it was the cover of the Wall Street Journal. Black and white. Took up the whole dining room table. And I'm talking about a 1960s, 1970s family dining room table with 2 leaves, and a fruit bowl in the center with candelabras both sides. This is a big table. You know what I mean? That was tough. This puzzle that we're trying to put together is much worse than that. And something else too, you have to allow for the color shift of these puzzle pieces in this cover to the box of the universe, and what is our story. And I'm just talking about just here, Then you go and you start bringing in the universe and all the levels and the dimensions, and hell of a puzzle. 3D puzzles, yeah. It's wild. Darn things shift. And it's not the piece's fault. It's our consciousness. I don't have a lot of fancy words to describe what I'm saying. I'm just me. But isn't it a hell of a journey to try to sort this out together? So faith. Something else goes on. I think the only thing that we have control of, everybody's going. Right? But I think what we have in control of, and what really calms us down, free will. It's very important, right? Right, Ted, AJ, Catheta, hi, sweetie, Vixen, Straw Dog. Think about it. Free will. So we have control of how we deal with it. We have control of how we perceive it. We have a control over how we sort it. We have a control over what we're doing right now. Like Daniel Brinkley says, and like Katie Turner said the other night, like Lynn Monet has come on here and told us many a time. It's your intent. And what we do now to ourselves and to each other, we seem to judge ourselves on when we get over there. And it either weighs us down like those rocks in our big old pockets, like our big old trench coat, and all those pockets with all our feelings in them. Because we all have feelings. We have to talk about our feelings. We have to feel our feelings, and then we have to control our feelings. We have to sort our feelings to the point where we just don't want to feel anymore. And then we start worried that we can't feel anymore. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, a little too callous there. Let's work back. Let's reverse engineer our life journey there. Let's go back to where it's like, yeah, I remember that. I really like that kind of music. Listen to it. I like that kind of show movie. Watch it. Read the books. Go back to the time where you got joy out of life. Do some of those things. Watch old unsolved mysteries. I'm telling you, you got to be ready for the update. Because the update tells you you got so emotionally invested in this poor young lady and her disappearance, or this young man. How in the world? Where did he go? And you think, they're going to find this person and they're going to go away and they're going to get justice, and that young girl will be able to rest in peace. Everybody says that, right? To rest in peace. I don't think we do that. I think we're very busy over there. I think that's more for the living than it is the dead. I think sending them happy thoughts and energy, prayers, laughter, love, memories, smiles, including them in our things. Like, I know Mom is watching this. Both times I walked down the aisle, my mother wasn't there in the physical. Guarantee you she was there in the spirit. In fact, she's come and told me those things. Why should it be any different for anybody else that has a love and connection? It's not. The only difference is your free will and how you perceive it. That's what you have control over. That's what ghosts that are conscious and intelligent, in my opinion, have control over. Ghosts, earthbound spirits, the essence of a human being that is either left behind, stuck behind, or chose to stay behind, and probably other categories I didn't name, because it's complicated. Most simplistic, complicated thing I've ever dealt with in my life. So that tells me that the living has control over how we affect the world and how the world affects us. You got to go away. It's happy for you to go away in a mystery novel. And you think, I feel guilty because everybody else is talking about this one thing that they seem to be really upset about. Can I do anything about that? Yes, I can throw light at it. And I can go do something that helps me preserve that light. Does this make sense? I can go do something that helps recharge that light. I had a young person. I could tell it was a young person, and I could be wrong, in a chat, because what do you tell from a text, right? You have words, you have grammar, you have spelling, you have a choice of vocabulary, you have how is the sentence structured, how are if you're lucky enough to get a paragraph, because boy, they took the time to do that, right? And again, with these young ones that type, I'm surprised they don't have 6 thumbs by now, because it's just, and don't think we're not going to involve in that. What are we going to look like in 20 years with that mess? If wisdom teeth are such a big deal, wait till the thumbs and all this stuff catches up with our structure. What are we going to look like then? Going to get flippers or what? Serious question. Raccoons 20 years ago couldn't undo gates. Now they could drive a car. Evolution. Right? Adapt and overcome. That's what nature does. You're part of nature. Right? So anyway, this hyper little soul gets in my comments and is having a fit. Now, this is on an old video, and God bless y'all. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for coming in here. Again, I'll state, this is just our little information thing here that we put out. This is an acquired taste. I'm old, and I no longer care much about, popularity or anything like that. I tell the truth as I see it. I bring people on here to tell the truth as they see it. Sometimes people get upset in the chat. We ask them, all right, maybe tonight's not for you. See you tomorrow. Because what we're trying to do here is put out the truth. We're trying to sort it for ourselves. My chat is smart enough to discern for themselves, to sort out whether they agree with somebody or not, whether it fits in their puzzle if it's a puzzle piece they want to try to fit in their thing, or whether they think this goes to a whole nother puzzle that might connect onto my puzzle somewhere. And I'm smart enough to wait for that information, and I'm going to keep that puzzle piece. I can't not have people on that have different puzzle pieces than we do, because it might not fit in something else. Because I think this is much bigger, and I've grown up enough to know that all wisdom is not found in one place, but there's a simple fact of the truth. And I've seen other things in this world where everything is multi-layers, and some things mean more than one thing. And some things just are, whether we want them to be that way or not. And we've learned to sort them over time, right? That's why we like true crime and mysteries and, you know, uh, all the different things that help us discern, and, the unsolved cases and cryptids and the wonderful world of, fairies and portals and dimensions, and just wild. There's so much information out there. And the more we, dig up stuff, the more we find it's all connected. Who are we worried about? Everybody okay? Sammy Jane? I don't know Sammy Jane. Energy out for Sammy Jane. Send it if you got it. So that's the thing. I think to be strong light workers, whatever category that fits for you, even if you're just, trying to walk your journey and you're trying to sort everything, and, you're just trying to make it yourself, right? And you're trying to dodge all the darkness and, all the stuff. Because listen, you don't have to be in every battle, you know. You don't have to be in the front lines of every battle. Fall back, get some R&R, regroup, go through your gear, sort your shit. You know what I mean? Sort you, recharge, take care of yourself, and get back in there. But pick and choose. Choose your battles wisely. That's what it means. You don't have to be in the news every night. The world is going to happen around you whether you like it or not. And the idiots that are making decisions are making the same decisions they made 100 years ago, 200 years ago, in some cases. Absolute power is always going to absolutely corrupt, absolutely whatever. You know the thing. But power corrupts. Absolutely. And absolute power, well, you know the thing. I'll maybe say I'll never be able to do it now because I'm all messed up. But that's the thing. So you can only, can I do something about this right now? Again, I can send light into the situation. You can pray for it. You can send energy. Don't send all of it, because you're going to need some for yourself. Because as I said, when you're thinking about ghosts, well, there's one thing that has to happen before that human being became a ghost. They had to pass. So what can we do before that to make a difference in how things happen to us? Well, you can study ghosts. You can take in, and I highly recommend doing it. Look back at some of the famous, when parapsychology was big, and you had an awful lot of scientists in there throwing a lot of information around, a lot of scientific experiments for everything from energy and mind, inside and out and upside down. Here's the thing. Ghosts happen. Ghosts are real. We know that. It's not a question here on the show. I'm right there with everybody else. I think I hit that about 40 years ago. It didn't take me in my 50s to get to the point of saying, I'm tired of trying to prove that there's ghosts. You prove to me there aren't. And unless you've got something that's going to make some kind of sense other than, you know, mass hysteria or, group hypnosis, which all these things are possible. But I'm sorry, that doesn't wipe out every ghost story, for centuries in every culture known to man. Get real with it. Come at me with come at me with something more than that, you know? So there you go. Ted, thank you so much, my sweetie. There you go. Sammy Jane from Australia. We want to know if you're okay. If you can, call in, get a hold of somebody through social media, DM, pop in the chat. Let us know you're okay. We want to know you're all right, baby. All right. And then, guys, let us know if you hear from her. Let us know she's okay. And thank you so much, Ted. Yeah, that's another thing. Like AJK was saying, he got his channel taken down, and I don't know what the copyright was, but you usually have a chance to go in and cut that part out. If it's a song, which number one, that's what I was trying to explain. That's like the number one thing, because they'll come in and they'll say that it's such and such a song. Darn well you got out of YouTube creators list under the license you're allowed to use it, and this bum comes out of nowhere and says it's theirs, and they're not going to dispute it. It's up to you to dispute that. Now you can spend 11 emails and a huge part of your next 2 weeks of your life fighting that, or you can cut it out. And usually when you look in there, I had one, I kid you not, was 22 seconds. It was not their song. They put up a copyright. It's not a strike. It's something else. It's they're saying it's theirs. Let's put it that way. There's a word for it. Oh, Three Stooges. And just take those down and take all your other videos if you have them saved somewhere. That's why you always have 4 channels. You have 2 bum channels. Just talk to me, call me, and we'll talk. I'll tell you how to do it. So anyhow, you can usually cut that part out, but it was 22 seconds, and they gave them all of the monetization for a 3-hour video. They got the money for that. And trust me, we're talking about like 33 cents here, but that's not the point. It's the principle of the thing. It's not even theirs. So I just go in and I cut it all out. Even though I know that it was a YouTube thing, I'm not going to go in there and spend another 2 weeks going back and forth with emails, which I hate emails. Just, I don't understand. I'm from a group generation where we talk to each other. I never understood anytime I was ever a manager, and as a manager at PetSmart, and I actually had the jerk. We just talked for 20 minutes about a subject. He says, now send me an email about that. Why? I just told you. Well, I need a paper trail. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. That's called CYA, cover your ass. I could be in there taking care of these sick animals. You want me to sit here and play around with the paperwork? This is what's wrong with the world, folks. Everybody's so worried about covering their ass. They're not worried about the sick animals. And do you know how much more paperwork you're going to have to do something that the animals get sicker? Where's the common sense? See what I'm saying? Well, I understand, being angry about it, but you were doing a great job and you had a great thing going on. You don't, you get back on and I'm not saying you're not getting back on the horse. I don't even know if you have a horse, but if you have a horse, you should get back on it. That's what I'm saying. Don't let them win. There's ways around it. I just don't play the game. I just cut it out. I cut it out. I take it off. I delete it, because here's the thing. The minute you figure out how much power something has over you, you go, well, it's like anything. It's like how many different jobs I've had in the past, since the big lockdown kind of thing. It's like, what? Okay, fine. Find another job on the way home. You don't understand. I've spent my whole life doing multiple things. I do them very well, or I don't bother. And there's somebody out there who's going to want to hire somebody that works hard and says they can do something and actually can, because I'm not going to tell somebody they can do it. Can you do such and such? Yeah, sure. No, not at this point in my life. and you just take the power away. You know, get a couple other channels, get everybody to go over, all your subscribers over, and then you also back up, do one, which I'm starting to do now, is a Rumble channel where you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Because on Rumble, you can play music, you could play, whatever. Now, you might not be able to monetize it, but you can get your information out there. Because with me, like I say, I just look, it's all about the live channel. Live channel Sunday night. I'm very glad that people go back and watch it after. But when you watch it after, you get confused because there's this long intro, which brings me back to the little chippy that was in my comments, right? This is what I'm saying. I can't do anything about that. I can explain to him blue in the face why I do the intro like I do. We all know why I do it. You come in here, you shed your week, you leave the office behind, the screaming kids or the car that broke down or the cookies that burnt or whatever the day may bring. You broke your heel, whatever. That's the thing. You come in, you hear some good music. Definitely the vibration is going to change your mood. You see happy animals, you see fun stuff, you see maybe some old movie stars, you see some funny dancing, you see some great quotes, some motivational things, some cute little mice and flowers and stuff like that, and you already feel better. And at the same time, you're coming in here in the live chat, seeing friends that you feel good being with. It's like being at Cheers. Everybody knows your name. Well, paperwork, there's a room for paperwork. That's not what I mean. I just hate paperwork, Sarah. That's my point. I'm not saying it's bad. I know paperwork is needed, and I know it's, believe me, I've taught and I've done all, I get it. I just don't like it. I like to talk to people. I'm a hands-on tradesperson. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like usually all of this stuff that you have to do. I remember a time where you could go into a grocery store and God bless them, the cashiers, they knew all the prices for all the stuff. And at the same time, you know what they could do? Talk to you. They were nice to you. They might have been gossiping or spreading gossip or picking up gossip or whatever, but they were talking to little Jimmy and they were asking you, oh, were you going to make that new macaroni and cheese casserole? I saw that in the magazine, the Family Circle magazine. They talk to you. Now it's paperwork and back and forth and, instead of having a conversation and getting it done. That's what I meant. But I know that paperwork is important in some cases. And believe me, I've burned some pretty big bridges with some paperwork. The pen is mightier than the sword. I assure you, I agree. But yeah, I've had to do that too. I'm like, okay, I got your paperwork. I just, like I say, there's only a few things in this world you can really control. And I know it sounds funny to say, you can't control how other people treat you, only how you allow them to treat you and what you do next and how you respond, you know. And you'll find out that, I'm at the point too, it's like if somebody just goes off like just on a whiz bang for no apparent reason, I'm like, that's a whole, I'm all full up with crazy. I don't have therapy, look, I got a shoulder. I'll listen. I've got good friends that call me up over paranormal situations and stuff like that, and I'll answer the question. And they're still going 45 minutes later, asking me what to do. And I'm like, back to the first 30 seconds of this conversation because the answer hasn't changed. I told you what you need to do. If you want to do all these other things, and this isn't a diss, this is just you asked me, and you asked me about an herb, something I know a lot about, not all of them, specific ones that I'm very familiar with. And, yes, I'm 35 years in it. I told you, whatever the hell that is going to get rid of it. We start there. If it doesn't, that's going to answer some questions. We go to another door. But right now, this is where we start. Same with the paranormal. If you try this and this doesn't work, then we know we got something else going on. Next door, please. But they'll call, and they know better. It's a human nature. And I tell them, okay, the answer is still the same because there's one answer for that specific question. in my opinion. Does that make sense? So there's that. What else was there? I wanted to tell you, think about you guys throughout the week and wonder how you're doing. Send you love and happy energy. Because you do that for the living too, not just the dead. But what about the free will? We have free will. We have free will to choose whether we get upset about something we can do absolutely nothing about. Um, we can get emotional about things that, they're putting out there to make you emotional, to make you fear, to make you not want to do things, to make you want to, tuck and roll under your desk or whatever it was they used to make us do. It's all bullshit. You can also refuse to play their game. I'm in charge of this. At least for right now, I'm in charge of this. You want to read motivational stories about people that were in caves or in jails? They said you can't track. You got my body, but you don't have my mind. Those people, they went to the libraries, they studied, they found things to escape in situations. And they stayed free in their mind. This is the strength of a warrior. This is the kind of strength that light workers need to have. Can you stop the crazy driver on the highway? What can you do? Can you put light around it? Can you ask spirit guides to go and help? Their spirit guides, slow it down, maybe deter it. I used to sit in doctor's offices outside in the waiting room, and instead of panicking and worrying about all this stuff, I started honing in on the energy that was behind the doors, the nurses, the office worker, the person the phlebotomist, person who took the blood, and the doctor. And I would say prayers and energy prayers out to spirit guides and whoever was interested in helping that day. Go in there and touch that person's heart, clear their mind, focus them on this issue that I have. Have them be smart and touch every other heart that will listen in there to get on board with this mindset that I'm sending in. And I'm working on them while I'm sitting in the emergency room. I might be looking like I'm looking at a magazine, but I'm sending in. Tell me which one I need to go to. When I walk in, I want to be able to feel the one that I need to spend the most time on that's going to achieve the thing that I came in here to do. See if that works for you. See if that works. And you're only going to get that by focusing in on those energies. I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere and you can almost see the change, where the cop doesn't give you the ticket, or, I'm going to let you go on a warning this time, or I'm going to, that little turn. Did it work? Did your spirit guides get with their spirit guides and let them go? Let them go through. Sign it. Let them have it. Whatever it may be. Notice that spot on that x-ray, or that break in that ankle, where everybody else looked at it and didn't see it. Make them focus. Try it. That's light working. It's not just sending light out into the world or putting prayers on a bad situation or praying for peace. It's causing it. It's causing it. Because if we can sit and get our minds in a situation like that, people will understand why we go in and why we talk about situation or cases or get interested in ghost stories where we go, hold on a minute. You went in and you did what? These are kids. Why aren't we trying to cross these kids? Well, it's not our business. I feel like it's not my point to go in there. Hey, Dude, I get that. I get that you feel that way. And I totally understand what you're putting down. Here's what I'm putting down. I get it. I'll walk out of there, but not till I'm 100% sure that I've tried everything I possibly can to communicate with that human being and let them know when I'm walking away that if they don't want to cross, this is how they can do it when they decide they want to. Because it can get pretty dark real fast. So, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Cisco says so. You can go in and tell a ghost it must leave, even though it has free will. Because if you're going in there and telling them that they must leave, they must be bothering a living person and they have rights to. So you basically take that kind of roadhouse bar theme. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Now what are you going to do? Now what realm are you going to wind up walking in? How low is their vibration going to get? Are they going to be trotted down now? Can they leave? Are they stuck to the same area that the accident was in, or the house, the familiar house they lived in, or land? Like Yanni and Toys R Us thought it was a farm. You can't tell me that he saw it as a farm all the time if he's interacting with the toys and making balls bounce. Balls don't have any kind of, I'm talking about bouncy balls now, any kind of energy. Electronics. I could see that if a ghost was walking through, that their energy might affect electronics to have them go off, and affecting batteries and things like that. But a bouncy ball, that sounds a little bit more like a physical effect. And that's not all Yanni did at the Toys R Us. He was spelling things out and putting out train tracks and spelling things out with blocks and things like that, looking for Elizabeth, I believe her name was, the woman who had long passed and long crossed over, that he wasn't aware of. But you can't tell me he saw that as a farm all the time. What did the blocks look like to him? Rocks? They obviously had letters on them if he's spelling. Do you see what I mean? Another puzzle piece that we thought we had, but it's a little blurry because it's like, it's bigger than that, right? So it's not just he always, he died on the farm and he thinks he's at the farm. Well, who does he think he's talking to? Are all these people that are sitting on the floor talking to Yanni where they got the picture where he's coming down the aisle and they have the picture of him and all these people are sitting on the floor, the employees, and we've showed this video many times. I believe it was on a That's Incredible in the 70s, I believe. It was a couple segments and on another thing too. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, what is he seeing when he sees all those people sitting there? Are they sitting in a field of grass or weed or by his shed where he died, or, on the front lawn of the big farmhouse where he worked? Or is he seeing people sitting on a tile floor and he just doesn't understand how that got there because this morning it was a farm and that was a lake? I don't know. But I think it's different in every situation. So we can't just paint it with a big brush. We just have to remember that those possibilities are there, right? I mean, is that the common sense thing to do at this point? If you don't know the answer, you just sit on the information, you don't discount it, and you go, not in every case, because look at this, right? And by doing that, I think that opens your mind. Yep, there you go, Aunt Edna. Absolutely. Out loud, scream it in the car, scream it out the window. Don't let them sigh up you guys. Don't let them sigh up you. I can show you where a list of decades where everything was, they went from one big thing to another. We're going to lose all the polar ice caps and everything's going to be dead in 10 years. The ozone layer, we got to stop using aerosols. Everything is going to be the ozone layer hole, and we're all going to be dead in 10 years. Climate, this, up, down, ice age, ecology, oil, air, everything's 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, and it never happens. It's control. It's control. And the only thing you have control of, for the most part, is the square foot of real estate you're standing in, the information you decide to take in, and the energy you decide to put out. What you put out, you get back. Bad gets bad, good gets good. Tater Daniels. That seems to be the way it is. And that's the way it is, I think, for ghosts. So what are these whispers we're talking about? What do I mean by whispers? I think I really started thinking about them when I was digging into the Peter Underwood. And so many of the captures that Peter Underwood got back in 50s, 60s, 70s on these, from reel to reel to cassette. The old hold two buttons down and hold the other button down to record. Remember that? Little cassette portables that we had. And he'd always get the creepiest kind of whispering kind of things and some of the clearest EVPs. And again, he would get conversations. One of the famous ones that I've played on the show multiple times is the one where they left the recorder, and the camera set up. I believe it was just on a tripod. It wasn't an automatic at that time. It was just a camera that was sitting there ready for the next day's work. It wasn't actively taking pictures. I don't even know if I had that capability of hitting a timer or something. I don't think so at that time, but I could be wrong. I know it was on a tripod. And while they left overnight, they got on the recording. It's looking in a female voice. And the male voice said, "It's looking at us." Right there over the recorder, probably looking at the camera on the tripod. It's looking. Incredible. Okay. Class A EVP. And we're still getting them today. Class A EVPs and everything in between. And we're getting shh, shh, and all that, those little word breakups and the ovulus where it takes words out of the air and says things and all these different equipment. We're still getting. And everything that we're getting, clear words, clear conversation, clear information, clear voices, and whispers, we're still getting. And then I think the creepiest thing that hit me was I started thinking about again when we were doing the Black Hope cemetery case that was on. There's a movie. It was called Grave Secrets. They used a different name of the road, but it's the same case. And they did the Black Hope horror book. And we thought that Poltergeist was based on this, but miraculously, and crazy as it sounds, the truth is stranger than fiction, is the fact that the people that were going through that active haunting, that entire end of that neighborhood, I think it was like 6 houses involved, maybe more. Many families moved out. They think it might have even been as many as a dozen houses, maybe more. Can't be sure, but I feel safe saying that amount. That's a huge amount of people going through these things. People dying of cancer, fast-acting cancer. 1 minute there's nothing wrong. You go to the doctor and 2 weeks later you're in stage 4, whatever. That's just not normal. You could work at a nuclear plant and not have that. I'm just saying. Doesn't make sense. And that amount of people out of each house is crazy. Right? So the craziest part about that whole thing, truth stranger than fiction, is the fact that any one of those people could have probably gone down to the local theater downtown and seen Poltergeist playing while they were living it. And it was so close in time that a lot of people thought Poltergeist was based on that. But no. Again, stranger than, the truth is stranger. It's based on 3 other cases this happened to. 2 of them Indian burial ground, and one of them a poor, I want to say immigrant, based on, Ellis Island and everybody coming over from different places. That's basically how they put it. back in the day. Doesn't have to be Indian burial ground. It can be any burial ground. You're standing on burial ground. I guarantee you something died where you're sitting, standing close by, animal and otherwise. History of the land. We all know that. We all know that it could be a new house. It could be, we're way past that. Could have followed you home. Watched one last night. Blow your mind. This is a good one. It's a good story because, all right, there was a water tower in the town. And apparently when this family, the mom had gone to this high school, when one of the kids she went to high school with, I think it was a grade under her or something. She knew the kid wasn't in her grade. That's what she stated anyway. And something happened where the kid fell and died off the water tower. And there was all this stuff about, was he pushed? Was there something else going on? You know, all this mystifying stuff, as normally would in a small town with a tragedy. So fast forward, she's got teenage girls. Are you sad, horse? Why, Renice, why are you sad, baby? Yeah, you can feel distress, man. So anyway, see, that's why I try not to focus too much, because I start thinking I can't even remember what the heck I was talking about. Some people are really good at that. They can do like 5 conversations at once. I have a hard time because I have to focus and stop. And as soon as I start reading it, I can't hear anything going on out here. That's why I don't do it while there's a guest, because I won't hear anything they're saying. That's why I count on my mods. But if there's something going on, you have my love. I don't know what's going on, but I think it's too far up for me to tell right now. So I'm just going to keep on going on. The whispers, I trust everybody's going to give out love and energy if anybody's hurt or anything like that. Please do. That's one thing we're here for, man. That's why live is important. But, oh, wait, I keep losing this one. I wanted to go back. So, again, you can only control how you react to these things. Let's take this. Let's see where this train takes us. So I'm looking through the comments, and if you ever get creeped out because you put a comment under one of my YouTube channels and I answer you right back, it's because it pops up with a notification and it's in my YouTube studio. So it pops right up and I can see it alerts me 3 different ways that somebody said something under one of my older videos. One's already been live and is still playing and people watching the replay, putting comments. So I can go right in and I can say something. So I kept getting these alerts. I was at work and it was like beep, 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 and I can see the red tag and I know it's got something to do with that, but I don't have time to go in there right now. So I had to go out to get some flowers. We were doing a lot of funerals that day and a lot of, other stuff. And we're already getting ready for Thanksgiving and getting stuff ready to do centerpieces and stuff like that. And I'm really glad to see that there's so many of them, because that means that people are having dinners and dressing their table up. And that's nice, and especially in this economy. They might be a little smaller or whatever, but people want that joy and that tradition. And that's very cool. I'm digging that. I'm glad to be a part of it. So anyhow, I'm getting these alerts, and it's on one of the older videos of one of the wonderful guests. And I'm sure it was somebody that wanted to just hear the guest and didn't quite understand our whole intro thing. And I try to take the time to explain that, especially with somebody that the guest was the dark subject we were going to be talking about. I had a lot of fun videos in the front to raise your vibration before we delved into that dark subject. And also it was extra long because it's a hard week out there and you want to shed all that stuff and come in and say hi to your friends. And then you start being able to pay attention to a little bit more of the videos, and you start seeing the happy animals. You start feeling a little better than you did 10 minutes before. And now you might be ready and covered in that light and a higher vibration, very much like eating chocolate and doing other things before you go on an investigation. You're putting down protection. This is my way of doing so, whether you know it or not. That's what we're doing. And it also gets your mind ready for the subject, because if we're going to do something spooky or fun, old ghost stuff or whatever, I'll put some old Universal Monsters on, to set the mood. You know what I mean? It's the same. It has the same feeling as the ambiance of a restaurant. Or you like the atmosphere. We're setting the atmosphere full of light, animals, fun stuff. There it is. It's for the live chat. It's for the live show. So here's the thing. I don't ever understand, and I don't usually engage with people that this is your personality you're putting out front, that you would rather yell and scream at somebody who's giving and putting you something up that's free. Hey Travis, how you doing, sweetheart? Lots of love sent your way, baby. To something that's free, you're complaining about it. That's one. That says something right up front about you. Number two, you're you spent 6 different times to put down information about what you're watching, which takes time. Even these young people that are really fast with the comments and the texts and everything else, that you're going to keep doing that. And all you have to do to fix the issue that you're having is to move the little line forward till you see the person you want to hear talking and avoid all of that. But you sat there for 15 minutes angry at animal videos and beautiful music. So much so that you spent 6 different comments about the same thing when you could have just fast forwarded. So I took the time to answer you. Now here's where the choice comes in. I could have told you that, honey, there's a bar you can go up faster. And if you're going to suggest to me that I should spend extra time on the 32 cents that I might make in the next year on that video, to go in and put timestamps to let you know when that person's going to start to talk, when all you have to do is slide your finger. And I know you had to know how to do this. You can fast forward me blathering, yammering on about whatever, and just go right to that person. That's what it's there for. And get that information from that interview from that person. I'm fine with that. The music in the intro is for you so that you're protected. If you don't want that, you don't want your vibration read, and you just one of those people that don't need that, you have all the body armor, the soul armor you need, you can just dive right into those dark subjects and come out unscathed, more power to you. Please, please, please. Spend the time in the comments to let us all know how you've achieved that kind of paranormal Kevlar. But here's the point you missed. That was a dark subject that video was about. And if you know the code that I do that in the interviews to raise your vibration and to ward off all negativity and to put frequencies in there that make things that are negative feel very uncomfortable, that's where you should be focusing. Because it's just like sage. And if it irritated you that much, honey, you needed it more than anybody in here. Glad I could help. Carry on. It was funny. I met somebody and it was all these things. I kept saying, it's not a problem. Don't care. It's a little thing. Don't care. Carry on. Do it. Do it. Do it. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. No problem. No problem. No problem. You do you. I'm over here. I'm doing me. Just don't get your chocolate, my peanut butter. We're good. Right? Simple. Simple. Then we have a problem. Okay. So I remember I cleaned real good and I saged and I put all, there was a new thing, we're getting to know each other. Person comes home and the hell is that smell? Oh, it's awful. Ooh, I can't be in here with that. I went, now we got a problem. Because that's supposed to ward off negativity. And if it irritates you that much, we got some things to work on. Same thing. But I didn't do that. Because when you're putting stuff out there You think, okay, somebody else that feels that way might connect into that energy because bad brings bad. And they might be drawn to that energy because it's feeling the same way that they are, and they don't quite understand it. They're just really irritated because they want to get to this part and they don't understand why this intro. Holy shit. Well, I just told you. I don't adjust for you. There's plenty of channels out there. Change the channel. I'll be right here. I'll be fine. It's okay. Have a nice life. Be well. Be a good human. It's okay. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to make a big scene. Just go. Because I do. Of course I do. We all do. Right? And that was my choice, to give the information, to take the time to explain why it's there. Because if that energy draws another energy that's like that, that other person might read that and go, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I've heard about eating chocolate before you go on investigation. I am really interested to block myself from anything I might conjure up or invite in. This is great. This is knowledge. This is next level paranormal stuff. I've heard about this frequency stuff and these vibration things. There must be something to it. I've heard about meditation. Not everybody has the time to meditate. You know, one of the quickest meditations there is out there? Frequency. Just a sound, a crystal bowl, a gong, a bell, a toll, a song. Not my first rodeo partner. I love Reese's peanut butter cups too, but only when I choose to have them. You know, if all you want is a plain good milk chocolate and somebody comes over and jams a jar of peanut butter on the top of the bar you're eating, you're going to be upset because you didn't ask for that peanut butter. Exactly. And you know what, Ted? I got her loaded up for our out too. I smiled when I put it on there and I heard a piece of that music and I thought of you saying, I know that music. So we got that coming up. So let me quit yammering on. That's our little talk about choices. You choose where you're at. I mean, I know there's people out there that are depressed, that have a hard time coming out of it. Depression is a big thing. I've been dealing with people with that all my life. I understand it, been there myself. But the only thing I know to do is keep trudging on. Get yourself out of the hole. Eventually, even if you don't know what direction you're going to, keep moving. Eventually, the scenery is going to change. Things are going to change around you. You just got to keep going. It's going to be good, right? I know. I love Scout and Duckberry. It's the good one too. It's the one where she goes around town in the wild and in the office, and it's everywhere. You know, and tonight you can think about that as, you know, it's just all this stuff is going to come up, you know. Well, just put on a pink tutu and dance around. It's all in what you um, choose to do, you know. The ice cream can fall out of your cone. You can laugh about it. You can pick it up and give it to, you know, dog in the park or something or whatever, or just sit there and, well, the ants are going to get it. The birds are going to eat the ants. We're all good. What's supposed to happen? I don't know. Go get another cone. Maybe we weren't supposed to eat it. Maybe it was going to make you sick. I don't know. It's all on how you choose to react to it. These people that go around and everything that happens to them is it happened because it was them. They're walking around their own self-curse constantly. You can't tell me that that's not true. If motivational quotes and speeches and mantras and sounds and everything work, you're making the choice of what side of the fence you're on. It's okay to jump that side every once in a while, wallow around in whatever you got to deal with, but get the hell back over there quick. You know the way out. And I think ghosts do too. And I think that they have the right to freaking know. So I will, you know, listen, I did debate school. I can have a non-emotional conversation. Trust me, I can. Talking about information and facts. Facts are facts. They don't care about your feelings. Right? When you find out that some of the facts you thought were true aren't really facts, you got to work through your feelings. Don't be surprised if powerful people lie to you. Don't be surprised when powerful people will do evil things to continue to have that power and gain more. Never be so unwise as to imagine that evil does not exist. That is the hardest thing for a human being to understand. They cannot wrap their minds around how people can be evil and do evil things. Till a light worker can get to the point where they know that that's true, that both things exist, extreme love and light, and extreme darkness and evil. Hardest thing for people to exist because they want to believe the best in people. I do too. But you got to know that it's out there. And you got to know what beats it. Because evil has existed and got its nasty, dark, slimy roots in everything. You got to kill it all. And it's happening. And you can feel it. And you know it's true. And you can feel the separation. And you can feel yourself vibrating. And you can feel stuff trying to pull you down and break you. You cannot allow it. You revamp. You do the things you know that work. And do not hesitate. And you get back up. And you start putting your light out there again. I shared a meme on my social media. Most of the time it's cats. But I saw the one with the goddess with the light, and I can't remember who it is. It's not Statue of Liberty. It's another one. It's, I think, from the Universal. I can't remember who it is. Probably Isis. You'd be surprised how much of that stuff's ingrained in all. I'm telling you, roots, baby. Hey, Eminem, welcome in. And these dark things just tried to come at her. She just took that light and bam, bam, right back up again. That's what you need to be doing. Let anybody put your light out. If you do, lean over to another light worker, get a jump off of them, and go right back at it. Now's the time you stand. We're way past the point of, is there something going on? Honey? You bet you damn bippy it is. It's called spiritual warfare. And we know what wins. So where are your worries? Handle what you can handle. Fix what you can fix. Prepare for what you can prepare. Love yourself through it. But don't spend 6 comments trying to adjust me. Good luck, youngin'. You know? Good luck. It's amazing, isn't it? So I'm beginning to understand that a lot of these things go back a while. It's not just the evil, it's the good as well. I can assure you one thing I do know for sure. They're not the only ones with bloodlines. We all got them. We all feel them. We all stand with our ancestors and those who went before us. And we've talked about that on this show. But I'm talking a little deeper here too now. That is true. And I do believe there's genetic memory. I believe that even in your chromosomes, they can go back so far to prove where you came from and who you came from. I'm talking about even more than that. There's genetic memory, and I believe that's in your blood. And then there's a soul memory, and I believe that really does carry memories from other lives. I have very little doubt in my mind about that. And I know there's people here that don't believe in, reincarnation. That's fine. Just put the seeds in your pocket. Later on down the line, your consciousness might shift. There might be another piece of information that all this makes sense. But that's where I'm at right now. I have more proof for it than against it, And it does make sense to me as far as soul families and soul collectives and all of those little things. And those pieces are really becoming very clear to me at this point in my life. And I think we do get flashes of those memories. I do believe that when we come back in, um, of course, it makes sense to not have that memory. Wouldn't that be cheating? It's like, here's the thing that, it takes all the everything out of it. Everything I think we need to choose in this life has to be a free will, and it has to be the little choices. Like in Nefarious, the lawyer who's looking at the convict that's up for on death row, and he's trying to determine whether or not he's sane enough to kill, which is another weird thing that we do in the judicial system. What the hell is that, right? So, I mean, I get it, but think about it. So anyway, he's sitting there trying to decide. Now the guy's possessed, and he's actually talking to the demon. And he asked the demon, he said, "Well, how did you get in him? Isn't there some kind of invite?" He goes, "Well, it's not as big a ritual as a big invite." He says, "Really? I've often heard there has to be an invite." He goes, "Well, there is, but it's not quite like that." And he goes, "Well, how is it then?" He looks down, and Sean Patrick Flannery deserves an Oscar for this. He'll never see it because they don't want you to see this movie because it's too real. It's too true. It is absolutely spiritual warfare right there in one room for an hour and whatever long it lasts. It's an amazing movie. And it's so true. And the demon puts his head down like this, and he kind of looks up at it. He thinks for a minute. He looks back up, and he goes, "It's all the little yeses. The little yeses along the way will chip at them till they get so dark and so deep into it that we just..." So little things that others have made commonplace and, warmed you up too slowly, that made it more acceptable along the way. Example, I remember at one point in time, a woman couldn't show an ankle on a movie. There's people there called censors that wouldn't allow it. They'd cut a whole movie, money, everything else to take this out, take that word out. Then they came up with a process of rating to, tell you what you were going to see. Your PG, your rated G for all the family to see. Took that one word out, and we're all good now. Slowly in my lifetime, I've watched it go from that to blowing the heads off of zombies 24/7 on 15 different channels any time of the day. And if you can't find it there, you can find it in a video game. If you can't find it there, you can turn it on your phone and watch it all day there. You can then take that video and you can hand it to your 2-year-old while you go grocery shopping. Instead of teaching them how to add and tax and how to plan meals and everything else, now they're watching, Gumby shoot zombies and blow their heads up or whatever they're watching. It's conditioning. And you have to decide what's right for you, where you want to be. Right? With things that we're allowed to see and things that we're not, and things that are accepted and things that aren't. The whispers of, man, that's not right. That shouldn't be happening. The whispers in our brain of our DNA memory, our past life memories, when we get that little flash or that little feeling, a little intuition is like, man, I feel like I've been in this decision before, right? Maybe I should make a different choice this time, right? Your bloodline, your DNA memory, your family, your soul family. What if your soul family is coming back in a circle of abuse, and you go back and you find out in your lifetime you were the abuser, or you were in a family of abusers, or you loved somebody who was being abused, or you had some kind of thing like that. And you hear this thing called break the circle, break the cycle. How do you do that? Can you stop the person? Can you stand up like these people on Unsolved Mysteries where you go, there's going to be justice. There's going to be justice. I know there's going to be justice. Well, the guy went out for 16 years. He was in hiding. Yeah, but he was still had a life. And he totally brutally killed this person. Then he got arrested, went through another 5 years of trials and a lot of money and a lot of anguish for the family that had to go through all the right steps the correct way, their anguish. And he does 2 years, gets back out, and now he's, a lumberjack and whatever, or sailing the seas in a sailboat, whatever. Is that justice? Even in the system that we think that we've honed out and made so everything in a jury, your peers and all that, it just doesn't feel like it. So there must be something else. There must be something else that we can control, that we have more control over. What do we have control over? How we react to it. Free will. Little yeses, little nos. Little crossroads, little choices. How do you react to it? How do you take the power away? How did I take the power away? When people were saying, well, you got to do this, this, and this, and that's upsetting us, and you've got to, no, you take this job and shove it. I'll get another one before I go home. We'll see how that works. Because I outsmarted your ass, and I know how to do a lot of things, and I know how to do things that you would never think of doing, and you're going to pay me well to do them. Or we'll just move on. And I can't pay for that, and that. Okay, I'll go with less. Now what do you got? The more you keep taking, the less I have, the less you have to take away from me. You know what? You can't take this. My freedom. Why? Because I know shit. I know that you have no power. Certainly don't have the power you think you have to harm me or mine. Tell me how I can and cannot live. You're telling me if I want to be on this platform, I have to follow the rules. Okay, that's a contract. I made a contract that I would color within the lines. Every once in a while, my crown is going to go outside the lines. If you catch me doing it, I'll admit it. But I'm going to get away with some. I'll probably say it once, even if I have to take it down after. But if you need me to cut out a couple of words out of it, then okay. But I'm willing to do that. Just don't do more than you're willing to do that you're comfortable with. Does this make sense? And it all does have to do with ghosts. It does have to do with the afterlife. It does have to do with living and dying well. So none of this stuff happens to you. So you go right over there and go, I'm here. I've heard about this. Show me my life. Show me how I affected other people and how it affected them and how they felt. Because it's so good. Because they've got all this stuff figured out. Are you kidding me? Somebody knows what they're doing. Somebody's got this wheel and it ain't us. We can only control a couple of things. So let's master those. Right? We master those by little things that we know. Like, what's the number one thing that it seems to hold people back? Fear of being judged. Okay, we know we judge ourselves. You're judging yourself now. What punishment are you putting yourself through now? You're living in the basement. You're an attic. You're rattling cabinets. Your big thing to look forward to is standing over somebody's bed and scaring them so you can get a little burst of energy and go back up into the attic. What kind of choice is that? It's got to be better on the other side. Dude, give it a shot. What are you doing? Well, I don't want to see what I did. I did bad things. Oh, so you think that you can continue to do those bad things now in the form you're in? Okay. Nope. Not allowed to. Because these people, the living, they have free will too. And we have power over you. You're not allowed to do that. And that's where I have a little bit of question. I understand where people are coming from, where they say they don't have a right to go in and tell somebody they have to cross over. I think we have an obligation to allow them the information that they can. But if you're in a home and you're bothering these people and you're bothering these kids and you're causing harm to them or causing them sickness or fear or any of those things, you have to go. And you absolutely have the right to do that. Like I said, you don't have to go home. You can't stay here. But here's what's going to happen when you're out there mussing around, right? And as living people, the number one thing that you're really going to have to wrap your head around is forgiveness is the big thing. I highly recommend you watch The Ravine. I'll say it again and again and again. Nothing says it like that movie. The understanding of why people do stuff, how they get there, like I did in Cabin 22. How did Skeet get like he did? How did Jeb get like he did? You know, was Jeb going through that circle of abuse? What if he forgave his father? You don't have to forget it. You don't have to let it happen again. You gain the wisdom and you say, you know what? You don't have power over me anymore. If I forgive you and I send you good energy like I did with my dad, everything is released. He's better. He gets to go through whatever training courses, obstacle courses, gauntlet, whatever he has to go through over there. That's out of my hands, right? But me, I'm no longer drinking the poison and worrying over somebody who never knew I felt that way in the first place or cared or whatever, because there's not that kind of justice here. You know what I mean? And you know how I know that that's important, and I know how we're on the right track with that? Because most of the dead that have crossed over aren't concerned with this mess. They're concerned, and usually you hear them say first, if there was a situation, an accident, or, they're saying that they committed suicide, but it was really an accident and they didn't, and they like to clear that up. You know why? Because it's affecting the living. Because they see that the living is focusing on that, and they've made their life all about it. Finding the killer, solving the mystery, the justice. And I'm not saying not to do that. Oh no, Sarah. Your kids walked away, your family is imploding. Mine did too. About two years ago. I'm telling you, everybody is vibrating now different. And those that are vibrating at a different frequency are separating off to go vibrate on their own. Now, those things will change. You've got to allow those consciousness to develop in their own journey and just love them through it. That's all I can say. I've been there. I'm not talking some hollow stuff. I've been there, done that, been doing it. I would imagine you probably have too. I mean, that's just the advice that I give, because that's what's happening now. Everybody you talk to. This Thanksgiving is going to be a trip for a lot of people. Some are going to say, I'm just not going to put myself through it. I'm going to do something happy. I'm going to do something nature. Even if I do it by myself, I'm going to watch some good movies. I'm going to binge watch The Chosen. I'm going to watch The Ravine. I'm going to watch old, It's a Wonderful Life. And I'm just going to sit here and be me and shine my little light until these people come back around. And if they don't, I'm going to send them happy thoughts and energy, but I'm no longer going to allow their vibration to affect mine. That's how you break the circle. Because here's the thing. I had to tell some really smart people last week who know better, who I've gotten advice from on multiple cases. But when it happens to them, you can't do it for yourself. You need somebody to help you sort it. So do you know this? That you've already made the agreement with them, your soul family, your collective, whatever you want to call it, over there. And you've already agreed to forgive them for it and to go through it with them. So you guys could learn, so you guys could evolve and raise your consciousness and your vibration. The only way you can do that, and you can achieve it, so you're not going to go through it again or pick to do it again or whatever, because remember, free will, nothing is making you do it again. You're picking that, is to get it right this time. Forgiveness, break the cycle, break the circle, use your DNA memory, use your bloodline strength, use your light and your connection to Creator, and the wisdom that you've collected thus far. Rise above it. Go ahead, act crazy, fall down, skin your knee. You know where the Band-Aids are. Take the herb, don't take the herb. Buy the spam, don't buy the spam. You're going to wear that? That's a big one. Okay. Let's see what happens next. There comes a time when you get to the point where you're just like, you know what? It's not worth my energy. I'm going to spend my energy on me. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to eat the good cookie. You know what I mean? I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to do the hobby. I'm going to take the trip. Whatever it is. Do you find some happiness this holiday season? That's what we're supposed to be thankful for. Things we have, the memories that we have, the knowledge that we've achieved up to this point, because you wouldn't be here this long listening to me thus far if you didn't get it. You got to let it go. And these ghosts, I think in a lot of ways, that's what we're helping them do. And that's why I believe going in there and doing everything you can to sort the situation. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't count on equipment by itself. I think it's very important. But I think that the team is important, or you're important if you're by yourself. But you got to sort it. You're not leaving this house dressed like that. But they were right. I'm watching somebody go through that right now. It's just everywhere I go, these guys, honey, you're wearing a dish towel. Well, tell me you don't know what you're doing. This is the oldest thing in the book. Don't sit there wearing a tube top. And, that's it. You know what I mean? The girl's got, a little Mae West thing going on. And go stand in a garage full of guys and tell me you don't understand why everybody's staring at you. Don't play stupid. We're right past that silly blonde thing. You know what I mean? That's so 1960s. You know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. The girlfriends know what you're doing, and the wives know what you're doing. No good could come from this. Let's see what happens next. Nobody could tell me. I had to go through it. I had to learn it. I had to earn the scars. Heal the wounds. Pay attention to the lessons. Right? We've all been there. But again, all that applies to the ghosts because they're humans. And we forget that. Right? So the whispers I was talking about and the DNA memory and reincarnation. Now, this first story I'm going to show you here, we might not get to many because I rattle off too much, but the first story is very interesting because I put it the unexplained, but it is explained. It fits in right with what we're talking about. And it always seems to me to be, young people that can play guitar, people that are drawn, I've always wanted to be a blacksmith. Where do I get that from? Since I was a kid. Something that's just interested me. I wanted to try this, but you find out when you're an older soul and you're tripping through, you do a lot of different things all at once. You usually do them, you achieve it, and you move on. You do a lot of different things, or you do them all at once. That's a fast tracker that's coming through for one of their last times, because you're just doing all the things that you remember in your DNA memory and you're enjoying them. But once you achieve it, it's like you're no longer, it's like, I want to see if I can still do that. And you go at it, and it's an amazing thing. And you start picking up on that. and paying attention. It's like, wow, I seem to remember, might have been spinning wool or gardening or, like I said, blacksmithing or being a warrior, you know, uh, that kind of thing. It's funny. And I think that's also too, have you ever noticed in military families where there'll be a lot of military families, like my great grandfather, my grandfather, my father, it's a very patriotic family. And I believe that's true. But I also believe it has something to do with DNA memory, because being a soldier is such a profound thing, no matter where you are, whether you were a Roman soldier or, wherever, whatever kind of warrior and whatever kind of culture. I think it's such an ingrained thing and such a thing that you practice it until your muscle memory, you don't have to think about doing a job or doing a task. Um, to the point where years, I mean, decades after I got out, I was still cutting corners, my drilling ceremony. When I turned a corner, it's just the way you carry yourself, hold your hands, walk. It's so ingrained in you. I have a theory that that's also a memory of their soul collective. And that's why they keep coming around being in the military. It's just something that seems natural to them and something they're around, true, in their life culture. But I also believe it goes deeper. Makes a lot of sense if you think about it. This lady here, something similar. But I thought it was very interesting and it's an extraordinary, and I hope you like it. It's about 8 minutes, I think. Let's give it a whirl.
Deja vu. Feelings that we've been here before. Sensations we've all felt at some time or another. But what happens when the flashback turns to reality? What happens when there's proof of a past life? Imagine the year is 1865. A dashing young military man is on his way to a stately home called Escol Park near Campbelltown, west of Sydney. His name is Duncan, and he's bound for a romantic rendezvous. The flowers are for his beloved 24-year-old Amelia. Amelia is eagerly awaiting his arrival. There's a gala evening ahead, and she's dressed for the occasion. A ball gown with a long, hooped skirt. Eyes sparkling, cheeks flushed, the beautiful Amelia rushes to meet her beau. Young hearts, young love. Everything in the world seemed right. But fate was about to step in. Things would change, and the dreams of two young lovers would become the nightmare of a woman born more than a century later.
My whole being changed. I went from me, being me, to this young, vibrant young lady who was just glad to be alive and glad to run to this gentleman in the doorway. And she was beautiful. She really was.
38-year-old Sandra Hill underwent that transformation at Escol Park while she was trying to trace her ancestors last year. Sandra now believes that for one terrifying moment, she actually became young Amelia, the same Amelia who lived in that mansion back in the 1800s. You see, Sandra has researched her family tree, and she's found that one of the branches leads to the Fowlers from Escol Park. In particular, Amelia Sarah Fowler, who was born on January the 16th, 1841. And as Sandra Hill wandered through the old mansion, she had a feeling she'd been there before.
As I walked down the top part of the stairs, it was all right, but as I walked around the landing to go down the bottom half, I reached a point, looked up and saw this gentleman standing in the doorway My whole body seemed to change at that point, from being me wearing slacks to me wearing this long white hoop gown. I had a totally different shaped figure. I was young. I was glad and eager to go and see this young man, and I tried to run. My foot caught in the hoop. With that, I rolled and fell and landed up in a heap on the bottom of the stairs. She just looked like a rag doll when she landed on the floor.
4, feeling tranquil and at peace. 3, as you drift back through the mists of time, back into the memories of a lifetime you've lived before this one.
That experience nagged her until February this year, when she decided to delve deeper into the mystery. Sandra consulted Tony Drew, a clinical hypnotist, who put her through a form of therapy called past life regression.
In a moment, when I say the word now, you will quite clearly hear someone calling out your name. Now, I want you to tell me what name they're calling.
Amelia.
Under hypnosis, Sandra not only became Amelia, she also went back in time to that evening in 1865.
In a moment, when I say the word now, you will hear somebody calling out the male friend's name quite clearly. Now, what name do you hear?
Duncan.
I'm absolutely convinced that Sandra Hill was under deep hypnosis. I've carried out about 2,000 similar past life regressions, and from my experience, she certainly wasn't faking it.
And then that fateful moment, the moment Amelia rushed down those stairs.
She's sort of running, skipping down the stairs.
What are you wearing on your body?
A long white hoop gown, lace on it.
You're now watching Amelia walk down the stairs. Does she get to the bottom of the stairs?
No.
I want you to tell me what happens as you watch on from a peaceful, detached distance. What's happening, Sandra? As you tell me, you'll relax more and more and drift deeper asleep. What's happening?
No.
In my own personal belief, I do feel that she may well have lived as Amelia Fowler beforehand in another life.
No one knows for sure how Amelia Fowler died, but it's possible, just possible, Sandra Hill could be right. This headstone in St. Peter's Cemetery, Campbelltown, says Amelia Fowler died in 1865, aged 24. But Sandra Hill is not the only one who has been visited by Amelia Fowler. Lorraine Kearns is a receptionist at Escole Park House, the old mansion, which has been restored and is now a restaurant.
I saw the vision of Amelia, and she was absolutely very beautiful. She was very fine, very thin, very picturesque, but she was really, really sad. And she was just looking at the window in the ballroom with a longingness of waiting for somebody to come. That's what I felt. And she was just awfully sad.
We do know Amelia Fowler did exist. And we've heard that Sandra Hill believes that she has relived an accident which happened more than a century ago. An accident in which Amelia died, so young and so tragically. Was it a past life experience? Or was it some kind of warning from a kindred soul?
I had this feeling on stairs I'm going to trip, slip, whatever. It's always stairs. I have this feeling that I'm just going to lose my feet from under me and go.
Here, let me stop it there for a second. That's what I mean. How many of us would go back in a regression therapy session with the right person? Just say you had the right person and they know what they're doing and they take you back and they recess your memory in all your lives, at least one or two. And then you realize that in this life, you have some of the habits you carried there. And it's not just how you put on your shoes or, things that would carry over whatever century you're in, but maybe how you pronounce your S's, or you have a certain tick, or you have a birthmark where that person was injured in another life, or all those things that we've heard that have to do with past life memory and DNA memory and all those things. These are almost whispers in the mind, whispers in your memory, whispers in your daily activity and your thoughts. And it's almost like those memories and those familiarities that we have, those likes, dislikes, stuff that we carry over. It's almost like we're haunting ourselves in a way. Our past can haunt you. And I thought how powerful that is, that our past can haunt us from past lives that we don't even remember fully, but still have an effect on us, on our emotions that deep. And also help to form our character. And some things that we did back then, we, in whatever life, we might be repeating now. And that makes sense to me to think about that and that whole circle and break the circle and everything else. Well, I recently, and I'm going to finish up with this. I did have a couple other stories, but we'll just go ahead and carry those over to Steve tomorrow night. We'll talk about them. And I am trying to pick up everything you guys are saying. Travis, I'm glad you're feeling better, sweetie. Like I said, a trip to the dollar store, some jelly, peanut butter, a couple boxes of crackers, the emergency blankets and stuff like that. If you got to ride something out for a couple weeks, and get you some lard candles and some wire and hang that in the rearview mirror, you can warm up a car. I did that for 2 weeks with a cat. 3 weeks. Got through. Just had to get to another paycheck. Got it sorted. Move up, move slow. Baby steps, slow and steady wins a race. And you just get out of the hole. I've been in that hole. I know how to get out. That's what you do. Power bars from the dollar store. You know what I mean? Allow yourself a good meal every couple of days and just stack it away and stay going. And if you can't make it there, move. Get in that car, point it in a direction, and go where you can. It's something that people have been doing for centuries. Change your, don't try to fit in a bad situation. Your life and your universe, your spirit guides might be trying to get you to do just that. Think about that. Some of my biggest, hardest left turns turned out to be the right roads. I can tell you that. And it's so true. And at first it seems like, oh my gosh, this job, not another one, this one, not another relative that I can't stand to be in a room with. I just can't even stand to hear them talk. I don't want to call them. I've tried so hard. I've shown them pictures. I've done this, I've done that, or, I've shown them with my own life. Again, you just got to stop interacting with people who are dragging you down. Now is the time you need to lift yourself up. And you just think about, we are in the Titanic timeline zone here. What do I mean by that? I grew up at a time where in the 70s, I'll tell you this little bit and I'll get you out of here. The 70s were the decades of the disaster movie. You were stuck in an elevator and the building was on fire and you're on the 30th floor. You're on the Poseidon Adventure and you're flipping upside down. You got to get the hell out of there because now everything, up is down and, there's disaster around every turn. And you've got your screamers and your bleeders and your ankle breakers and your complainers and your bitchers. And then you've got your 3 or 4 heroes that are trying to duke it out because all their egos are trying to, find their place to save everybody in there, And then you lose your people along the way, and it's very emotional, and somebody gets out, and it's like, yay. Just, disaster, one right after the other. Must have been a dozen of them. So I thought about this stuff at a very young age. I got very used to looking into human character and the breakdown during disaster and chaos. And you have those people, and it's really easy to sort people in groups. Is this, if somebody is in a disaster, they're going to act a certain way. You're going to have your people that are heroes that are just methodically going after and saving other people that probably, wouldn't have made it otherwise, And yeah, just think about, God bless them, the Titanic, right? And it doesn't matter what disaster, these people, it's humans, so they're going to all act this way. There's just groups, right? You have fighters, and you have, So, and then you got the nasty ones that are just conniving and would do anything, step over kids to get out the door, that guy, or, woman, it doesn't matter. And, the Titanic, you can imagine those people in the water, they didn't have any chance because the water was so damn cold. I don't care what anybody says. That was instant to not being able to hold on, doing it. It's horrible. But if you were in a place where you could swim and you knew that you had to get away from the boat, the ship going down, it was going to suck you down. That's fact. Some people are going to know that, some aren't. Some are going to be so stunned and in shock, they're not going to know what the hell they're doing. And those are the dangerous ones, the panickers, right? And because you could go swimming by and everything's chill. You got a couple people saving, you found a little board floating or a deck chair or something like that. And, everybody's chilling, and some jerk that's panicking and having, it's all about them, come over there and just chaos out of nowhere, right? These are your draggers and your panickers, and the ones that every time you save them, they do something else to not only put themselves in danger, but other people as well. These people are coming to the surface in our real lives very, very quickly. It isn't your job to sort them. They have got, look, unless you want to bring back the Barbara Stanwyck slap, which I am all in favor for. My hand is already up. I'm ready to vote. I think we could get a majority vote on that one, but I think we should bring that back because, back then when people were just slapping people that got out of hand and just sorted them out right there on the spot and didn't let it drag on out. It's like, you good now? You common sense back? Yes, it is. Thank you very much. Let's go on about a day. That's how it was handled. As soon as you cut that kind of stuff out, look at what you get. Now you have to give them time to work it out on their own. So whether that's, and some are going to come back, some aren't. But you can't save them all. You got to hang on to that damn piece of board. And you got to keep yourself afloat. You can't help nobody. So meanwhile, nobody says you can't have fun while you're doing that shit. So I'm telling you right now, if you got a holiday thing, revamp it. Stop, regroup, expect different at this point. You're light workers and you have to take care of yourselves. And so any and all goes. If you want to get hot chocolate, put a little Southern Comfort in that, and you want us to go rent some movies, if people still do that, or download it or stream it, you want to binge watch old movies because that time period made more sense to you and you feel better doing that, you eat the entire box of Whitman Sampler, or you want to go get some ice cream, or you want to listen. Treat yourself, because here's the thing, you earned it. You got it this far. You still have the common sense to understand what's going on, at least for the most part. You might not be able to stop the disaster. The building's going to burn. Your choice is, are you getting out of that elevator? Because I'm getting out of that elevator. I'm getting down there. I'm getting out the building. And then I'm going to have a cold beer. And thank God he gave me the strength to get out of there. But that's my intention. Now, Something might happen, take me out along the way, but there's my intention. That's the kind of thing you have to have in your mind. You're making it to shore. You're going to keep kicking. Some people want to come along and they want to kick with you. That's fine. The minute they start dragging you down, you got to let them go. So no dinner or traveling, or if you're at the point where you got to throw together a green bean casserole, drag your ass 100 miles in a direction where you don't want to be, you ain't got to go. If you think that you're going to be in a room full of people that are going to make you feel worse than you already feel, what are you doing? This is the time where it's like, you know what? I've done this for years. I'm up to here with it. I don't want to pretend. Pretend it gives me a headache. And you people right now are just not doing. You're not very good for my vibration right now. And to tell you the truth, I'm a little concerned about you, but you're not my problem. I'm going to go worry about me. Go buy some Pepperidge Farm cookies or a 6-pack, whatever, and go home and put on a good show, read the good book, put your feet up, treat yourself. Do whatever it is you can do to make yourself feel good. Listen to an old radio play or change your atmosphere and treat yourself well. Nobody says you have to go and sit in a room full of people you don't want to be with. Christmas, if you're lucky enough to have a job where you don't have to deal with people that you don't want to be around just to get a paycheck, you got a leg up on some people that are stuck in an office with a horrible work situation, just trying not to tell off everybody all day long. Get yourself out of that situation. Can't do it right now, work in it. Work on doing it for the future. Do what you can. Accept that. Go easy on yourself. Forgive these jerks. Let your narcissist be narcissist. God help them. These fancy pants, people running around that don't have a clue. They got reality about to take them out the heels. People like you and me that have time to sit around and worry about whether or not dead people are staying or crossing or coming and going, reaching out into the world and wanting to understand more and getting a lot of it. We're trying. We know it's a lot bigger than us. We see it. We see the universe moving through things. Y'all go get you some of that mess. The universe knows how to fix stupid, but I promise you it's going to hurt. I've had mine. Y'all go ahead. I'll be right here. Let me know how it goes. So those people that's one thing about American spirits. You got to light them constantly because they go out, which I like, because you put them down and they just don't burn up like the other ones, So that's why I light my cigarette 15 times. But anyway, that's what I feel, and I thought I'd be real honest this holiday season. I love the nostalgia. I love to look back and go, yep, that's what I remember. It wasn't always good. It wasn't always great. We tend to think that, we look back and we think, man, that's, memories are nice. Not all of us have nice memories. I'm not saying that. I certainly don't across the board either. But mine picks out little things, like you remember how the olives taste or whatever that special dessert or dish or the lipstick on your cheek from grandma or whatever it may be, the conversations and you being small and listening to the adults talking about whatever their, fear and panic was at the time, because there's always something. Name me a time there wasn't. Tell you what, I remember 4 years, it wasn't so damn bad. Can't remember exactly when that was, though. She was a whole lot better. Remember, there wasn't any new wars. A couple got stopped. Barefoot uphill both ways with a lot of lies and bullshit on their back, too. God, imagine what they could have done if everybody was working together for the greater good. Must be something else afoot then. I see the evil. I see the good. Right now, I can tell you one side's a little bit not too happy right now, and they're really turning up a lot of mess. Seen it all before. Nothing new. I know what wins. I know what wins. So you say a prayer. You put that energy out there. But something I want you to do for yourself. Don't haunt yourself with memories or DNA memories or bloodline memories. Because here's the thing, you're in control of those. If you're remembering those things, and if your soul remembers, then why can't we just glean the good from it? Say, okay, all right, I get it. Done this before. What did I do wrong last time? What feels right? What's smart to do this time? I've done it this way 1,000 times. I'm going to do something different this time, and I'm going to take care of me, you know? And if you can downsize to make it easier for you, fine. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You know, you can tell them about the herbs and you can watch them suffer in pain. You can watch them complain about it. They might not get out of the elevator because you're giving them common sense things and they're not even doing that. I have a saying for that. It's like, you don't want to put anything on that rash to cure it. You just want to itch and complain about it. And that fits in many things in people's lives, whether it's a bad relationship or anything else. Ask any medium how many times they have somebody sit down in front of them and say, am I in a bad relationship? Should I leave? Yes, you should. But why? You know, he's got such a good heart. And just remember what I said in the beginning of this conversation? I have people that call me up. What do I need to do for this situation? Here's what's going down. Can you run through it? Run it through your filters. Tell me what you think. Yes, I can. I think this is what, in my opinion, this is my advice. You don't need to take it. But this is where I'm at right now. This is what I think you should do. Or this is the person you should talk to and then do this or whatever I told them. 45 minutes later, they're telling me all the other things they want to do. And then asked me what I thought about that. And I said, the first thing I told you 45 minutes ago. Some people just want to be heard. Some ghosts just want to be heard. They just want to be noticed. But here's the thing. If they're there for a reason. That's not where they were supposed to go. Wherever they go and their intent and their vibration and their thing, that's them. But you absolutely have a right to tell them they can't be in your house and they need to stop. And I think that there's something inherently good about human beings being kind to other human beings. I think that's a big part of the answer to all this. Even when it's not comfortable, but you don't have to beat yourself up with it. You don't have to put yourself in danger. But I think that the ghosts deserve to have that chance to make their own decision fully informed. That's my point. If they decide, hey, yo, I get it. I could cross. I don't want to cross. I want to stay here. Can't stay here. Oh, man, where do I need to go? You out and away. You know, we can help you do that. That's what you want to do, but you're going to have to wander till you find your next spot. But you can't stay here because you're affecting this family, this business, this whatever, and you can't do it. And some people say, I love the ones that go in and go, you know what, just leave it alone and everything is chill. And then they go because they don't know. Did you work? Does the ghost fully understand what's going on here? Because time is not the same. He could blink. And it's 200 years from now. And this is a parking lot or a desert. Now what? Is he going to be he or she be so confused by this situation and their reality that they forget everything you told them? It goes I think a little deeper on that. You know? I don't know if you guys do too. But I think it's worth talking about and sorting on this level, you know, because we don't have all the answers, but all of that makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Whether some of this conversation, you didn't even know whether I was talking about the living or the dead, right? Earthbound spirits, ghosts. Because so many things are the same. Why? Because it's people. You don't have to deal with a narcissistic human being. You don't have to play their game. You can go on and make your situation as best as you can. That's best for you. Decision's best for you. And don't put up with anybody's nonsense. That belongs to you. We don't have to keep going over and over and over and over and over again. Listen, you do you. I'm going to do me. The minute you're my chocolate, peanut butter. None of my business whether it's chunky or smooth. Don't even want to know. Not interested. I tried to give you love, tried to give you common sense. Now you're starting to affect my well-being. Move it on over. I'm going this way. There's no reason to be upset or anything else. They were them. Forgive them. If they were in your lives, you already agreed to it. Maybe not in minute detail. I think the details could shift a little, but the big whole picture. I'm going to come in. I'm going to be an asshole, just like I was last time. And you're going to be this. And we'll see if we're going to do the same again and keep repeating the same pattern, or if something else happens. Let's see what happens. Let's go back in and do it again. Reincarnation in a nutshell. Right? So break the circle. Break the cycle of abuse. Break the addiction. Break this. Break that. You don't have to choose that stuff again. This time, I'm going to make the damn tea. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to get the magazine, the book, the movie, the thing, the guitar playing, the trip on the motorcycle, whatever it is. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to smile. And you're going to be in charge of whatever you do while I'm doing that. Some people ain't getting out of the elevator, kids. You can't keep jumping into the fire. You can't keep going back and trying to keep the one that wants to drown 20 people because they won't let you Barbara Stanwyck slap them. I'm telling you. You can handle quite a bit with that. You understand what I mean. So there's that. I didn't mean to rattle on all night, but sometimes when we get together, that's what happens. Sometimes I just feel like I need to say stuff because I know what people are going through. I've been through it, It was been a lot of human beings that have been heroes. A whole bunch will never hear the stories of, and you see those on the Unsolved Mysteries and stuff too. And you think of the people that did the things, pick an era, or somebody, whether it's D-Day and the people that got off those Higgins boats, into marching out of fear and just not wanting to be the one to fall out of line, running into certain death. And now you got people that are offended by a word, curl up in a ball and into the fetal position or start screaming and acting like absolute idiots. You can't tell me that that's not by design. Right? There's a lot of broken people out there. Some had something to do with their breaking, and some, I believe, had a lot of help. You can't sort them all right now. You can only take care of you. You can look back at the things that have worked in our history and learn from it, and the things that didn't and learn from it. Somebody very wise once said, you cannot add 1 hour to your life by worrying or with anxiety. You can't change a thing. Sort it, put it on a shelf, and go do something nice for yourself. The simple things are the most important. Simple things are easy to achieve and maintain. Focus there. Accept no one's bullshit. Don't pick up their baggage. It doesn't belong to you. People are separating by vibration right now. It's a chemical thing. It's a universe thing. You really don't have any control over that. It's going to happen. Your choice is whether or not you want to be in the room with it or you'd rather be doing something else that's making you feel better and you a strong warrior. How many big bad soldiers in any war, spiritual or otherwise, do you think hang out with a bunch of whiny, complaining, bitching, everything's wrong, the world's wrong, I can't? They're hanging out with the warriors. They're hanging out with the ones that are preparing, keeping their knives sharp, and laughing and telling jokes and keeping a physical body, mind, and spirit in the positive. You're in a war, a real one. The cool part is, you know who wins it. All you got to do is get through it. It's up to other people if they want to get deeper into it and more destroyed. They may be going through what's going to turn them into warriors on their journey. You can't get in their way. You're doing them a favor by pushing them off and making them walk their journey or walking away and letting them handle their journey. You got to handle yours. You got to keep yourself strong, your spirit, your mind, your heart, because you already have the answer. You know who wins. You know, you leave here and you go out and you watch the news and everything else and you spend your week, and it's real easy to forget that because they're very good at what they do. Their propaganda is strong. And the tactics and spells and energy manipulation and everything you can name has been working for decades and centuries and eons. Be unpsyopable. 40,000-foot view. You have your puzzle pieces. It's okay you don't have the cover to the box. You got a pretty damn good idea. I love you all. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Remember what I said. Do not feel guilty for taking care of yourself and for not going back to pick up the one that keeps jumping in. They got to learn to swim. You've already put in the time. You've earned it. If you're here and you're listening to this and you're getting this, you've put in the time. Get out of the elevator. See you on the sidewalk. I love y'all. Happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. If not, happy day. See you tomorrow night with Steve Stockton. We'll continue on. I love you. Good night. Keep your feet under the covers. Your closet door shut, because there are things that go bump in the night. Good night, everybody.